Every day, more and more people are trying dopamine detox. They stop scrolling, delete their social media apps, and even turn off their phones for days at a time. Many people say it changed their lives after they tried it. They feel more focused, calmer, and they find it easier to get things done. But just as many people say, the results only last for a few days. If dopamine detox really works, why do the results vary so much? Is the method itself the problem? Or have we been misunderstanding dopamine detox all along? Maybe dopamine detox was never meant to do what so many people think it does. And if that's true, we may have been doing it the wrong way from the very beginning. If you look up dopamine detox online, chances are you'll find similar answers. People say this method works because it helps reduce or even reset the dopamine in your brain. At first glance, that explanation sounds reasonable. If something keeps making us pick up our phones, look for entertainment, and struggle to stop scrolling, wouldn't the solution simply be to reduce the cause? But before we believe that explanation, there's one question we need to answer first. What exactly are we detoxing? When we hear the word detox, we immediately think about getting rid of something harmful from the body, like a sugar detox or an alcohol detox. That's why, without even realizing it, many people assume that dopamine detox means removing dopamine from the brain. But there's one important thing you need to understand. Dopamine isn't a toxin. Dopamine isn't something your brain is supposed to get rid of. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Without dopamine, we can't learn properly. It's hard to stay motivated. Even our body movements can be affected. So, if dopamine isn't something that needs to be detoxed, why is this method called dopamine detox? The answer to that question completely changes the way we understand this method, and it all begins with the person who first introduced the concept. The answer takes us back to 2019. Back then, a psychologist named Dr. Sepah introduced a concept he called dopamine fasting. From the name alone, it's easy to assume that the goal of this method is to reduce dopamine. But in his explanations, Dr. Sepah has repeatedly said that this concept is often misunderstood. What he wanted to reduce wasn't dopamine, but impulsive behavior. For example, the reflex to pick up your phone whenever you feel bored, or to look for entertainment every time you experience even the slightest discomfort. If you think about it, those are two completely different things. One is about a chemical in the brain, the other is about habits we repeat every single day. That means the main goal was never to change your dopamine levels, but to help us break behavior patterns that have become almost automatic. If that's true, why do so many people still think of it as a way to reset dopamine? The answer emerged as this concept began spreading online. The more people talked about it, the more its explanation was simplified. Eventually, many people started believing that the benefits of dopamine detox came from lowering dopamine. However, the original concept focused more on changing behavior. Then, different versions of how to apply it started appearing. Some people stopped using social media, some turned off all notifications, some stopped listening to music, and some even avoided all forms of entertainment for several days. Some people feel that these approaches are very helpful, and indeed, reducing distractions can make attention more stable. But does that mean their dopamine is actually being reset? Or is there another explanation that makes much more sense? And this is where we find out why some people succeed, while others fall back into their old habits. The short answer is, the changes they experience are real. When social media, notifications, and other distractions start to decrease, the brain also receives fewer stimuli to process. As a result, your attention becomes more stable, your mind feels calmer, and getting your work done becomes much easier. But this is where many people draw the wrong conclusion. They think those changes happen because their dopamine is being reset, when in reality, they've simply stopped repeating their impulsive habits for a while. The problem is, many people stop there. They manage to stay away from their phones for a few days. But once the challenge is over, they go right back to using their phones the same way they did before. Whenever they feel bored, they immediately start scrolling. Whenever they have a few minutes to spare, they immediately open social media. Without realizing it, their old habits begin to form again. And once those habits return, so do the results. This is why so many people feel that dopamine detox only works temporarily. Not because the method itself isn't beneficial, but because only their behavior changed for a few days, not the habits that drive that behavior. So, the greatest benefit of dopamine detox isn't the detox itself. It's the opportunity to become aware of the impulsive habits we've been repeating without even realizing it. So, how can you use dopamine detox to make its benefits truly last? The answer is much simpler than most people think. If you want to try dopamine detox, don't treat it as a way to cut yourself off from everything you enjoy. You don't have to isolate yourself, turn off your phone for days, or avoid technology altogether. Use that time to notice the impulsive habits that show up most often. When do you pick up your phone for no reason? When do you immediately look for entertainment the moment you feel bored? And when is your attention the easiest to pull away? After that, focus on changing those habits, because that's when the real benefits begin to last. So, does dopamine detox really work? The answer is yes, but not because it's cleansing the dopamine in your brain. According to the dopamine fasting concept introduced by Dr. Sepah, its main purpose is to help us reduce the impulsive behaviors that have become habitual. That's why dopamine detox can be the first step toward changing impulsive habits. Because what truly changes our lives isn't dopamine, it's the habits we choose to repeat every single day. Subscribe, because in the next video, we'll uncover something you may have never noticed before. See you in the next video.